The 8-Bit Hillbillies.
Boom.
Hello, hello.
Welcome back after a brief hiatus to the 8-Bit Hillbillies. Number 4, Super Mario Brothers the movie. Done right.
Yes.
And
Done did do it.
Done did it right.
Right.
The correct way to do a Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yes.
So, apologize for the delay. We had intended to do this 2 weeks ago when the movie first came out. And for one reason or another, we had rampant random funk, sickness, disease, just not feeling it.
Oh, gosh. Pink
We
eye.
had old people problems.
We had old people problems. I wasn't going to call out the
Strip.
pink eye, but you know, it's on you.
Somebody farted in his pillow.
Something like that. Yeah. So yeah,
I don't
we meant to
think
do
that's
this.
how it went
So
down.
At least not quite.
Yeah. Not quite.
So meant to kick this off a little bit before, obviously we're kind of missing the rush now, but yeah. Hey, Super Mario Brothers movie is a massive, colossal success. It is absolutely, I don't know, to read some of the headlines, just kind of shocking the world, I think.
Highest grossing video game based movie so far.
And also destroyed just several, I think, just general animation metrics as well. So, we may dive into a little bit of that.
That's wild to think because
later.
there's been a lot of video game movies.
Yes, there has,
especially in recent years.
But yeah, we won't quite get into that just yet. But we might hop into some theories on that one. But the usual housekeeping, we'll get it done early, mainly because I put on a notepad to go ahead and do this, and it's staring at me.
Reminders.
Reminders, they're important. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you've been tuning into us. Like to hear our voices and us discuss things geekdom. You know where the buttons are. We appreciate it. So there's the housekeeping, and we've apologized for the delay. So without further ado, let's hop into this beast.
It is indeed a beast, as I sit here and stutter, and
it ain't been that long since we've been on the mic. Come on,
I gotta talk. But it is indeed a beast. I mean, where do you start with this thing? I'm done running. Where do you even begin with this thing? Because right off the bat, I mean, it looks good animation wise. It is true to character designs. It absolutely just stomps a mud hole and walks it dry in the 93 version. Rest in peace, Bob Hoskins, wonderful actor, but one of the worst projects he said he ever did.
I feel so bad for him. I get it.
So, I mean, where do you start? Because this thing was pretty much spot on.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it was spot on.
Well, it wasn't just, I mean, that's the thing is it wasn't just Mario. And that's what I really, really liked about it. It was like all things like Nintendo.
Well, and that was actually, that's a point I was going to bring up is we didn't get an intro Super Mario Brothers movie. We also got basically, in disguise, a Donkey Kong movie, set up an intro, a Mario Kart movie, set up an intro. I mean, we got more than, and those weren't little teases. I mean, there's tons of teases throughout the movie. Yeah, well, the fandom is going nuts saying, hey, we got the I'm here to talk to you about the Smash Brothers initiative.
we got a nice little glimpse of that with Mario and DK going at it.
Yeah.
It's just so much packed into this thing that it makes your mind explode. The amount of awesome that was in this whole thing is just ridiculous. From the soundtrack, from the Easter eggs, from the designs, from the story, the comedy in and of itself.
I hadn't laughed that hard at a movie in a long time.
I
I'll say
know.
that.
And people were
peaches.
It's like people were worried about the voice acting in it, and it wasn't Charles doing it, and you were worried over nothing.
We were talking about that afterwards. That it's
I think Chris Pratt did a good job, and where he actually needed to do the Mario, like kind of the Mario voice, you could tell it wasn't Charles, but you could tell it was
the spirit of it.
It was in the same spirit. It was in the same feel, and it was actually pretty close.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But right out the gate, I'm just going to say the most favorite thing right out of the gate is they used the music from the original Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Yep.
I loved it.
Lou Albano.
Loved it.
Yeah. To go that far, to show that much. And it it wasn't just we're going to toss this in. It fit so perfect.
Oh yeah.
With the scene. Like it wasn't just like a little playing in the background kind of thing. I mean, it was in your face, loud, and granted we were probably the only guys in our showing that understood that, but I mean, it was there for us because we were those kids originally, watching that cartoon, and that was our intro.
Mario Brothers Super Show on Saturday mornings.
Mm-hmm. That Mario Brothers rap was we were there when it originated.
Hooked on the brothers. Yeah.
Hey, all of those are on Tubi right now. If anyone wants to go back and revisit those.
Yeah. I actually had I think I sent a picture out at one point of on Facebook of me and my boys actually watching it, going back through and watching the show on Netflix, and or was it Hulu? Might have been Hulu.
I don't know.
But we were watching it. Yeah, we were watching it, and it was hilarious because we were sitting there watching it, and of course they didn't have the Legend of Zelda.
Excuse me, princess.
Yeah. Well, excuse me, princess.
It's funny how they like separated those later when it come to like DVD and watching those. Like it's still not one package, so it's you want to watch the Zelda cartoon, you've got to click on on its own Zelda cartoon. But no, I'm with Janigan. Voices all around were great. And at first, I wasn't ever worried about Chris Pratt as the voice. I think for me, the one that actually in my mind that I struggled with was Jack Black as Bowser. More so because you just don't ever Bowser, this roaring giant lizard turtle thing, over the years, it's just it's hard to imagine Jack Black's voice in it, but I mean he knocked it out of the park, and it was never he can't do that, not the level of hate that people threw towards Chris Pratt when he got Mario. It was just kind of an eyebrow raising choice to me. But it works. It fits. I mean, he really owned it, and it was like, okay, yeah, no, he's Bowser. I mean, he made it work with this giant hulking. He's a good Bowser, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, especially now with his song I think cracking the top 100 Billboard actually.
And it's got a nomination. I think
Yeah.
it's getting nominated
Um,
for some soundtrack thing and movie rewards.
Well, just to kind of throw a little bit of love towards Jack Black, like, and I know obviously some of the stuff that him and Tenacious D, their music that they write is not kid friendly. Obviously, you don't want to be letting your kids listen to some of it.
No,
but you listen to some of the music, like he did a cover, like they did a cover for a couple songs, but yeah, I mean, like they're musicians.
right.
I mean, he's an actor, but he is a musician. So I mean, like, with the music, because that song, the Peaches song, it says it was written by Jack Black, and I don't doubt it. And as goofy as it seems, and as but it fit the bill.
Right.
It really it was written to the movie, to the theme, to the feel, to everything that had to do with that movie.
Well, my understanding is they asked him something. They were looking for a song, needed something, and I think I think he may have asked, like, "Hey, can I come up with a little something for this?" So I don't know what they originally had, and then he threw that out there, and they just like loved it, and it's like, oh yeah, no, this is staying. And honestly, if it passed Nintendo's, seal, that says something too. They would, they were probably really happy with it.
they had to have been in order for it to have even made the appearance or made the cut.
So but I think I can't remember the exact story. I'd have to look it up later, but I think he kind of asked for that.
Everybody knows that Nintendo's, I mean, just their business model and how they treat their IP. They're not going to let just anything roll through.
Well, not again.
Not again. Yeah, that's
not again.
That's what I was thinking. There's a reason
that's a fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me kind of scenario. So they're not going to let that happen again.
And that's why I think they exerted as much control as they did over this project, and had Miyamoto in there, and I'm glad to see more. The owners of these IPs standing up and saying, "Okay, no, this is my baby. This is how it's going to go." And that's it.
Yep.
It's kind of funny because it's like that's not the first IP that's happened to. Like, the good example was, Dragon Ball Z. As soon as people got a hold of it in the West, it was not great. And the same went for Godzilla when they made Zilla. It was just it was junk. They got a hold of both those IPs, and they both came from Japan. Yeah, they both came from Japan, came over to the West. The West absolutely murdered it, went back. We still haven't gotten a good Dragon Ball Z one, but we got a good Godzilla, and now we've got a really good Mario movie.
Yeah.
And it was because, like, the actual people that own the IP got a hold of it and said, no, this is what we're doing.
Never sell out.
Yeah.
That's the message I'm seeing. Never sell out. I mean, because we see what happened the first time with the first Super Mario.
Yeah. There's a reason we've not seen a Nintendo-based movie or project of this magnitude since '93. There's a reason.
And now I think we see the winning formula. And I'm sure Universal is now probably chomping at the bit with Nintendo to be like, keep control, just give us some more.
Right.
I would be thrilled to see some other IPs that, are owned by them.
Well,
turned into movies like Zelda
and I don't want to segue down that way yet.
yeah, I know.
But we will get there. Let's we'll go back. Anything else around the voice acting? I mean, I think everybody else was kind of what really kind of what I expected. Not that I didn't expect bad, but was kind of the performance I expected.
I
From
I like the cameo in the beginning with the actual legit voice actor.
Charles
Yeah,
Martinet.
yeah, because he actually, he was there at that little arcade machine after their commercial, and he's like, "Yeah, wahoo!"
Well, here's the thing, and that was one of the things I was going to bring up. When it comes, I got two final things when it comes to the voice acting. Uh, and I drew a blank. No. So yeah, one, it's not like Charles not voicing Mario was going to absolutely decimate him and his career. I know that there's like a lot of people who are really loyal to his Mario, right? His interpretation of it. But let's keep that Mario in the video games. I don't think I could have took an entire movie of "Yahoo, hee hee, oh, hee." Oh
And
my God, no.
that's what we said during
We
our
talked
show and
about that
last night.
afterwards.
That's exactly what we talked about too.
Yeah,
Was like
just
I love Martinet. I've met him. 6 Inches met him.
Yes.
Fantastic guy with his fans. Makes a great experience. But no disrespect, I don't feel like he could have carried a whole movie. And even if they did make him do it, you're right. 2 straight hours of
Woo.
there's a reason they're the one-liners for the game.
Yeah, that's because too much of that would just make you absolutely bungo crazy. Secondly, it's not like you've ruined his career or anything because he's still going to do the games, right? He's still going to be doing what he was known for. And that commercial at the start of the movie where they were advertising their plumber business, that was him voicing Mario in the commercial. He did it in the commercial too. So we got our Super Mario Brothers rap from the '90s, and we got Charles voicing Mario, all in that commercial. Ta-da! There's some fan service there. Of course, the whole damn movie was fan service. What am I saying?
And fan service done right.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with fan service, by the way.
There was so much stuff in the background too that like unless you were really really paying attention, you could easily miss.
Oh
Like
yeah,
like
I've got a few things on that too.
yeah,
Uh,
like when he fell in the sewers, and you could hear the faint background of da 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 da
did it. Yep.
Well, I mean, that was just part of the score in general
was so
throughout the whole movie. I mean, the
gentle.
entire lead in through the Mushroom Kingdom was a medley of all the various suites from the Mario games over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't
And,
just, the exact song too. They redesigned it too. Like a lot of times. Like it sounded just ever so slightly different.
Well, and it wasn't too in your face either with
Yeah.
that scene. It worked with the nature of your
right.
intro.
Oh,
Here's a
and
little buzz,
It fit the scene.
and yeah,
yeah, and it was the right volume on all of it. Like the da 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 was so quiet because it was like a mysterious scene. It was perfect.
the
And
soundtrack
final
as a
thing.
whole.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
We have a disconnect. The 6 inch will return. I'm sure he will.
Oh yeah.
Maybe he had to go poop. Who knows?
When you gotta go, you
Um,
gotta go.
But yeah, no, the soundtrack was like you
phenomenal.
just said, perfect. And we've seen so many other cases where they don't pay that tribute, and it's like, well, why wouldn't you? It's the themes we know. It puts me more into the movie.
Before we dive too deep into the soundtrack, I got my one last thing on the voice cast.
Oh,
No,
my bad.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Ginny Elias. The name Ginny Elias, people are going, who's Ginny Elias? She was the original voice for Princess Peach in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show cartoons.
Yeah.
And she made a cameo voice in the movie as the lady that they were helping in their commercial. Thank you, Mario Brothers. Looks like the only thing you didn't manage to drain was my bank account.
Yeah.
So that was the original voice actress for Princess Peach, and so she got to come in and actually do a part in it. I mean,
was it also the original voice actor for like Luigi?
no, it would be Danny Wells, and Danny Wells passed in 2013.
Okay.
Captain Lou Albano was Mario, and he's been gone for heaven knows how long.
He's been
A
gone a
while.
long time. Yeah.
And Harvey Atkin was the original voice for Bowser, and I think he's been gone since around 2017. So, I mean, really, I haven't looked at any of the others, but really, she's the only one that's probably left.
Yeah.
And they brought her
Yeah.
in to do that. So I think that was fantastic too.
But yeah, and you can definitely tell it's still her. You pick it up. Anything else on The Voice? Is okay. Yeah, no, I don't really. I mean, like I said, everybody else kind of gave the performance I expected. So, I wouldn't say there was a high standard or me thinking they were going to stink. It was, it's kind of like Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong. And it's like, it's going to be Seth Rogen doing Seth Rogen through Donkey Kong. And,
Right.
he didn't
And
disappoint. I mean, it worked. It worked.
It kind of was, yeah.
I did enjoy the quick. You had Cranky Kong, and then it was, I'm talking to you, Diddy.
Sorry.
I love that part. Diddy and Dixie.
And they went full on. The only thing, and also while we're there, I looked. Did anybody see any of the Kremlings?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, the Kremlings, the bad guys for Donkey Kong from the Donkey Kong Country series.
I don't remember seeing any of them.
I don't remember any jumping out at me either. It was just one of those things. I'm like, I'm going to look and see if they toss a few of those in there because, I mean, yeah, if you decide you want to build out a Donkey Kong series, I mean, now we obviously we've got Cranky. You had Diddy.
And Dixie.
And Dixie. And I think the baby one was there too. I can't remember. And there was a fourth one, I think. Even there was several on the bench in that one scene.
Funky Kong appears in the background while they're on Rainbow Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's back in there.
Was Chunky there?
That I'm not sure.
Because that was a big joke, and I would laugh so hard if that was like an actual thing they did. Because there's a big joke where it was like, and then there's Chunky. Chunky's dead. Because they had the old DK rap, and people were making jokes about it, like the Chunky just died.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. But kind of heading back towards soundtrack like we were on DK rap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Okay.
It was great.
Donkey Kong.
I mean, it was such a perfect intro for him. I mean, you couldn't have got that any better.
Was so good.
And I'm trying to think any other big soundtrack. Just overall, just a great score. I mean, and that's the thing. Kind of going back to the fan service bit, where it's not a bad thing. Like all of us fans, we could pick out the little pieces of music that we were familiar with. Yep. So it made us happy, but it doesn't hurt you to not do that because nobody else in the audience that maybe isn't familiar with it, they're not going to know.
This soundtrack had either a song from the 80s in it, like Need a Hero,
Yeah.
right? A song from the 80s or a song from the games,
Mm-hmm.
which 100% just fits it perfectly because, I mean, it came from the 80s. And why have a piece of media such as this if you're not going to use some of its game or some of its music?
Right. Well, and tap into that
Hmm.
that
Nostalgia.
nostalgia
Yeah.
and that era that most of us, except for Zesty, um,
Rip.
Rip.
um, well, I mean, well, even looking at
I was
Punch
born
Out
at the wrong
Pizzeria.
time.
Yeah.
Punch Out Pizzeria was another. That place was what got we grew up on. And how many times have we said before when we talk about missing those old school kind of places? The pizzeria with the greased up arcade machines
Uh-huh. The
from all the
checkerboard
play.
tablecloths,
Yeah,
Yep.
the
I
red
mean
plastic cups.
the big red plastic cups. Man, I was just like, I want to Punch Out Pizzeria, and if Nintendo doesn't like invest and start a chain of Punch Out pizzerias. I don't know. But it was just, I don't know, it made me so happy because yeah, that's like I said, we've said it numerous times. Those are the kind of places we grew up on, and they, hit the right audience with that.
Hmm. They absolutely did. And the movie itself is kind of like a history of Mario being told in movie form anyway, all around. Because I mean, you take a look at the games that came out. I mean, the games came out, and when you look at when they came out and what games Mario was in, first and foremost, let's just throw out there that Mario's in a lot of damn games. Okay, not just Mario games. He makes cameos and appearances in
Mario,
a whole lot of things. Punch Out. He's in
tennis,
Punch Out. He's the referee. Tennis. He's the referee in tennis. The NES golf game. He's the one playing golf on the cover. Um, there's got to be tons more, but
Smash.
the thing
Did
is,
we say he was the ref in Punch Out?
yeah,
Okay, sorry, I was mid research there, but yeah.
no, you're good. So I mean, he's in a lot of games, but that's just him making cameos where he's holding all sorts of different jobs. But if you look at his actual story, it's told in the games as well. Not sure in the order of release, but Mario wasn't always a plumber, neither was Luigi. They worked together on a demolition crew, and that game was called Wrecking Crew. It's an NES game, Wrecking Crew. And that's your whole objective, to wreck the background, to wreck it. I'm going to wreck it. Um, but, and their boss was Spike, who, lo and behold, appears in the movie. He's got the hat on. What's on his hat? Wrecking Crew.
wrecking crew.
And he's like, just poking at him, being the antagonist, like he was in the game Wrecking Crew, about them leaving him to do their own plumbing thing, right? So they're in Wrecking Crew, they leave Spike, they make a plumbing business. Lo and behold, here's your original Super Mario Brothers or original Mario Brothers game. This is the one where you've got Mario and Luigi, and you're going back and forth, and you have to hit the enemies from underneath and kick them off
Yep.
the stage, and then they'll come out of the pipes from below and go down, and ta-da! So while they're doing their plumbing business, that's when they find the warp zone to the Mushroom Kingdom, and then it leads into Super Mario Brothers. Wrecking Crew, Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers. That's the games. That's the story of Mario and Luigi, told perfectly now on big screen. God, I'm such a nerd.
Well, see,
Sorry.
I was actually discussing that with my boys when they were asking because they were my youngest was asking about Mario Brothers and the Super Mario Brothers and I said, well, he said, the Super Mario Brothers is, that was the first game, the original Mario Brothers. I said, well, actually, that's not the original Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers is what most people think is the original, and that's not the original Mario Brothers. I said the original Mario Brothers was just Mario Brothers. They weren't super, and they just ran back and forth, and that was, they just ran back and forth on a single stage, and these things would pop out of the pipes, and you had to run around underneath them, get underneath them, and punch up or jump, and knock them over. And sometimes it would take more than one. You'd have to hit them and then flip them and then knock them off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they definitely upped the difficulty. Good Lord, his internet just up and died on him again.
Crap again.
At least he finished his statement.
Poor guy.
All right, well, keep an eye on him. We'll get him back in here. Yeah, I mean, and it's another example of it shows where Nintendo had their hands in this.
Yeah.
Kind of guiding that and making sure it was done right.
He's back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back again.
And
apparently I'm having some connectivity issues this evening.
Apparently.
Really?
Getting sucked through a warp pipe.
Yeah.
That's what we need anytime one of us disconnects. It's just the Mario.
Speaking of sounds, that is one thing that I kind of wish that I did wish that I had actually heard, and I didn't. And I'm hoping somebody actually might have, but I didn't hear Donkey Kong's original noise.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't recall hearing it.
I don't either.
Because that would have been funny too.
That one probably got lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sauce.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the Shy Guys, they made their Shy Guy noise. Wow.
My son had actually asked me when they were showing that group of Shy Guys, and they had that one that had the mask on with the snout, the hole, and he was talking about them being Shy Guys and whatnot, and asking about that one. I go, well, that one wasn't actually a Shy Guy. That one's called a Sniffit.
Yep.
And it shoots little bullets. But I mean, I was glad that they even had them in there, because they got introduced to our Mario Brothers 2, not necessarily the Japanese Mario Brothers 2, but ours. And
and it's funny, because they've held on and endured, when and we've discussed before how certain aspects of Mario 2 just don't ever come back. We don't discuss them. We don't bring them back. But they've endured, and I don't know. I wonder if some of that is a little bit of, because you know how in the original Mario Brothers cartoon, he had Shy Guys, plus his Koopa Troopas. So I wonder if they're maybe running with that as kind of the precedent for allowing them in, because I think kind of like, where does this go? And my gut wants to say, and my wishful thinking wants to be like, well, Mario 2, you got to bring in Wart.
That's what I was, yeah.
And then pair them up, but I'm like, no, we never go back to Wart. It never happens. And I've said for years that I feel like he should come back in and do something different with your next Mario game. And I mean, even if have Wart and Bowser tag team, I just don't. It's wishful thinking. I don't see Nintendo doing it. I would be very surprised if they did.
Well,
I think it'd be great.
Just to kind of put that in there though, about the Shy Guys. One of the reasons I thought the Shy Guys were mainly in there is because you had Toad. And he was, with the backpack and the frying pan and the whole, the whole 9 yards. That was right out of his video game.
Mm-hmm.
And what is his the main, what is his main enemy, or the ones he's trying to avoid the majority of the time? Shy Guys. So
I'm just trying to run all the stuff that was in that
Oh my
movie
gosh, so
in my
much
head.
stuff.
I know.
Well, while we're on this, all right. So while we're on the Shy Guys, love the potential for Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
Loved in that world. He had his flashlight. I mean, and I don't think, well, and a little bit of a mix here with back to voice acting. I don't think they could have got a better guy to be Luigi. I mean, make sure I get his name right. Because Megan had asked, and yeah, Charlie Day, and because I couldn't think, I was like, "What's the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?" But yeah, to play kind of that wiry,
Coward.
Yeah, chicken, nervous. Yeah, I don't think they could have got a better guy for Luigi for that. Especially if there's potential, for Luigi's Mansion. And I definitely felt that vibe from the world he was sent to, and then having the flashlight. Of course, King Boo cameoed.
and King Babam.
Yeah, the King Babam cameoed.
Poor guy.
just that guest list at the end of and trying to avoid spoilers and whatnot, but that guest list there at the end, everyone showing up, that was great.
I just love the defeated noise he made.
He's like, oh,
yeah, because he knew. He's like, no, it's
He has
over.
accepted his fate.
Okay, so here's a question, and this is just because I know a lot of people have probably seen it on social media and stuff like that. Where, and this is a question for everybody, where did the little blue flame come from?
It reminded me of like the stuff from Super Mario Galaxy.
Little blue flame.
It was in the
Or
cage.
The star.
Little blue star in the
Oh,
cage. Or
the
little blue
star.
flame.
Yeah, the Luma. Yeah, they're from Super Mario Galaxy.
That's what I thought.
But yeah, there's another potential hopping off point to other adventures. You drop that little ray of sunshine into the movie.
Yeah,
The
that's
thing
an
is,
excellent way to put him.
Even at the start when Mario first got to the Mushroom Kingdom and Peach was explaining things to him, she actually made the comment that there was a whole galaxy of worlds out there.
Yeah,
And that was one of her actual lines. I was like, that right there opens up Mario Galaxy. All the different worlds that appeared.
Odyssey.
To me, I don't know if to me, and I may have been catching on to something not there, but as they were traveling from the Mushroom Kingdom to go to the Jungle Kingdom and talk to the Kongs, to me, it seemed like they were going through the stages and the worlds of the Mario Brothers game.
Yeah.
I mean,
I got that vibe too off of that.
Yeah, there's even that one scene where they were on that big bridge and all the Cheeps were. That's from World 2, 3. The big long bridge stage where all the Cheeps are flying up.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, that's a pretty good little throwback. When it comes to stage, they actually portrayed stage 1-1 and stage 1-2 in the movie too. And it's not something that's easily recognized or caught on to. So at the start, their van, when it went kaput, they had to run through the city to get to their first plumbing job. all those obstacles that they went through was a reproduction and recreation of stage 1-1. Even ending with the flagpole slide.
Yep.
And then when they were going down into the sewers, there was a sign, and it said level 1-2 as they were going into the sewers. So I loved those little throwbacks.
Something and I know in especially later games, they kind of demonstrate the Bowser army, but I feel like Bowser's army in this one was kind of nod, and again another nod. It felt very reminiscent of his army from the cartoon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in the cartoon, I always felt like he had this legit army. He had his henchmen. Multiple scenes. The Koopa Troop was marching in the old cartoon, and I felt like that was another nod. And like I said, I know it's in the games too. I just don't feel like it's shown as much.
I do like the dry bones. They made me laugh. the one that he takes and blasts.
Oh,
Is the Koopa, and it turns it into a dry bones.
Yes.
I thought that was hilarious.
I was like, oh, that's how they're made.
Yeah, it's like
Bowser gets pissed, kills one, and he still has an army.
It's a dry bone. Matter of fact, they're probably even better. Why don't you just do that to all of them? They just fall apart. There's no shell to kick or anything like that. I did like how Luigi celebrated his victory over that one dry bone a little bit prematurely. He celebrated. I was like, and sure enough, yep, right back together. They really did just do this one right. I cannot praise it or give it enough accolades. They nailed this.
Yeah.
They nailed it.
Well, I mean, you would know that they would have to be like, especially if they're going back to, if they're going to Nintendo, to basically get the information that they need for the for the IP to do the movie and do it justice. I mean, they wouldn't have had to look too awful far. I mean, just to get in, look at Mario Galaxy, not Mario Galaxy, Mario Odyssey, because it had, you had your 2D world, your 3D world, and you had a lot of nods to different areas. In fact, there was like, when they were going, through the different worlds, like the upside down pyramid and stuff, that was right out of Super Mario Odyssey. So, and they did a really good job at basically just pulling from, or just having stuff readily available, and saying, hey, yeah, stick this in there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, yeah, stick that in there too.
Mm-hmm.
It was also good.
It really was. It's just funny to me the critic versus audience score for this one, because it's like stupid high with the audience score.
Is the critic score not good?
Nah, it's like, I think the last I saw is somewhere in the 50% range.
Here's the thing. I'm probably about to go on a limb and risk a few things here in this comment. To me, critics are trying to put in too much of an agenda anymore.
They are. The movie did
there's
not.
A lot of things.
The movie didn't fit what the checklist is supposed to have with current Hollywood movies. And that's the thing that critics are too stupid to they don't get is that Nintendo don't play that game. Japan doesn't play that game.
Doesn't play that game. No,
They
that's
just make
exactly where I
fun,
was going to go
good
with this.
movies.
They don't have all the little check marks.
Yeah, and
That-
and that's that was a thing. It wasn't so much that because I've seen the articles about it's kind of celebrating the Mario movie as anti woke and all this. It's like it really wasn't an anti woke movie. It just wasn't a woke movie, and it went
And
back to what movies should be, which was to entertain.
Entertainment.
And I don't think that they recognize the difference between a movie that's anti-woke and not woke. Because quite honestly, I think that if it's not woke, they automatically say it's anti-woke.
I really, at this point, I don't even know what an anti woke movie would be. I can't think of an example of one presently. But I can think of examples of
If
just
they
movies, just movies that are not woke.
if they re-released Blazing Saddles,
Yeah, there you go.
that would be an anti-woke movie.
Yeah, that's what I was just.
How much can we break in one movie?
If Mel Brooks were to re-release Blazing Saddles in all of its entirety, including all of its
Minds would be
original,
blown.
Minds would not only be blown, they would just be losing their shit.
And Mongo.
there would be there would be people literally melting
rioting in the street.
Yeah.
rioting in the streets.
But Nintendo, plus they got burnt before, so I've heard a lot about how Nintendo flexed their muscle on this one, and was just like it's our way or the highway, and they were not willing to compromise, and it's kind of what I was saying earlier. If you don't want shit to get screwed up, where Hollywood brings in their agenda-driven writers, you have to control your IP. Don't sell it. Don't give away the rights. Don't give authority to anyone else. And you say this is what it's going to be, and that's it. And we see where that has gone when it comes to. I'll just say Disney as a whole. I won't at this point it's Disney as a whole. I won't even call out one specific franchise over another. It's all of Disney. And they're suffering for it.
Yeah.
Or poor Doom. Doom hasn't had a good movie yet.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah. I'll just say it point blank. You see what the agenda-driven writers have done to Star Wars, what they've done to Marvel, what they've done to Star Trek, what they're trying to do to a few others. But yeah, Nintendo didn't compromise, and it provided exactly what Hollywood is supposed to do: entertain. You had a pre-existing fan base that we've obviously enjoyed the hell out of it. And you've made room because it was still just a good family-friendly, fun kids movie. You've possibly brought in new audiences. Not that I think there's probably not a whole lot of it. I mean, Mario is probably one of the most recognizable video game characters in the history of video games. So, yeah. So that there's that rabbit hole. I knew it was coming. That's why I dodged it in the first 5 minutes, because I knew we were going to get there, and I had my stuff ready.
And I took us down it. So yeah, I mean that's the thing, and that's why the critics are hitting it so hard. It's because it's not fitting any agendas. And you know what? Just as you said, movies and games and music and things like they shouldn't fit agendas. They should just be fun. They should be entertaining.
Well, if you've got an agenda, if you've got an axe to grind, whatever, don't hijack someone else's fucking franchise.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Make your own original content.
Yeah.
And,
Do whatever you
put
want.
that out there.
And then do whatever you want with it. But like, oh my
But
God,
then,
I'm tired of stuff being hijacked.
on that note, though, if you do create your own, if you do come up and create your own content, your own story, don't be upset if it's not accepted or not received.
When no one watches it.
Yeah, very well by the masses, because people like what they like, and a lot of the times, some folks, they enjoy documentaries. Some folks enjoy, based on true stories, kind of deal. Some people want fantasy, sci-fi. They want,
Escape.
historical. They, they want different things out of the different stories or the different things they're gonna consume as far as movies and music and stuff like that go. So if you're coming up with your own content, you're coming up with your own story with your own characters, and then people don't just fall all over themselves to go watch it. Well,
Don't be upset about it.
I mean, it's not the people's fault. You just need to know where your demographic is. Who's your target audience.
Not everyone everywhere is going to see eye to eye or agree with each other or have the same viewpoints as everyone else. And that's kind of one of the things that makes the world go around, is because we do have differences. We do have different viewpoints, and we all come from different walks of life and different backgrounds and different histories and different experiences. Quit trying to put everyone in the same mold. It doesn't work.
I mean, I know people who really enjoy, scary movies. If they can go watch, a movie that is extraordinarily scary, they'll jump right off the boat, and go after it and go watch it. I am not of that mentality.
Me neither.
Well,
I don't
we
like
touched on
scary
that.
movies.
We touched on that when we did our Halloween episode, where we were kind of like, this really isn't our forte. I think all of us in this group have a very short list of scary movies. I mean, and I think I outnumber you all on the ones I like, and even it's still a short list.
My list is 0. So
Zesty gets spooked.
But the thing about
he's scared.
Yes.
Scared of
movies,
I get scared enough in my own head. I don't need other people putting stuff there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just like
I can see that.
It's like the movie, that new one, the what is that? The Pope's.
Oh,
The Pope's exorcism.
I know what you're.
Exorcist.
I know what
There
you're
you
talking.
go,
I've
yeah.
seen the trailers.
The Pope's Exorcist.
Yeah.
I noped hard out on that one.
Russell
I
Crowe.
was just like, nope, because it was like based on true files of The Exorcist or something like that.
The
I was
thing
like,
is,
no.
I was talking to my wife about that one, and supposedly that one is actually has a very pro-Christian kind of message to it, and I think might even be why it's probably getting some flack from certain demographics. But so in a way, it kind of made me want to go see it. But I saw the trailer for it, and at the end of the trailer, I found myself citing the Lord's Prayer because I felt so horrified and threatened, and I'm just like, no, I'm washing this juju off of me, and I'm serious. I found myself citing the Lord's Prayer. I just like, no, not in this house. That's one section of horror I don't mess around with. No sir.
Just bring in Constantine. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. But and that's the thing is that the when we speak on just specifically movies, when I go to see a movie, I want to be able to step out of my reality into a completely different world. I don't want I don't want to be reminded of all the crap that's swirling around outside the theater that I have to immediately walk right back out into as soon as the movie's over. So I don't want to go in and pay money to go watch, you know, stuff that I don't even really want to put up with to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
and then be subjected to the same kind of crap inside the movie theater.
Well, and it's kind of like the hijacking of Star Wars. Suddenly, it doesn't really feel like a galaxy far, far away anymore with some of the stuff. And I just use Star Wars, as an example. Marvel, maybe a little less so because some of Marvel was allegory for certain things that we faced as a nation back in the 60s, for example, and 70s. Marvel has always kind of had some of that allegory, but it was done in a way in the writing that it wasn't bashing you over the head. Versus, I feel so much now with the agenda-driven writing that it's just like they hold a sign up on the screen and just like you're it's not working. You're forgetting to tell a good story, and it's just like, hey, here's our message. We're gonna smack you over the face with it and hit you
repeatedly
and over and over. Yeah, and that's at least because I often hear that argument, that counter to Marvel. Now, like I said, Star Wars, that's a different thing. But yeah, that's the counter I hear to Marvel when they're like, well, it was always allegory for like I'll use the X-Men for example. But yeah, there's ways to go about it, and the way Hollywood I think thinks is the way to go about it is not, and hasn't been. It's not been working for them since it kind of hijacked and took over. I don't know, probably what 2010,
give or take.
I feel like, give or take. Yeah.
That's why there's been so many flops.
Well, so I feel like this is another case of, we continue to show Hollywood what we want, entertainment. I feel like Mario Brothers fits in the same box as Top Gun Maverick.
I'll agree.
And falls in the same box as Ghostbusters Afterlife. And that one you can definitely draw a comparison. If you watch, the catastrophe that was the 2016 version of Ghostbusters, which was very agenda driven, so much so that the director and the cast were attacking the people they were supposed to want to come see your movie before the movie even came out.
It's because that's all they know is attack.
Yeah. So, but
that's
I would put that in the same. I'd put with Ghostbusters Afterlife, Top Gun Maverick. A lot of these more recent examples where it's just like respect the lore, the history, what came before it, and tell a good story.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is one could even sit here and argue that the '93 movie did exactly not that. Which is why it's in the shape that it's in. Sure, it has a cult following, but it didn't do great.
They did not respect the lore, and they did a whole lot of acid and wrote something up with some names that were from the franchise.
Evolved into humans.
Oh gosh! Oh
my lord!
It's almost
I will say
unwatchable.
this, though, one of the more frightening things that I saw back in that time frame was the Goomba.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I don't know what those were, but those weren't Goombas.
What the hell
they
were they Goombas. On?
My gosh, it was scary.
Well, it came out in the 90s, right?
It is definitely a product of the 90s and 90s filmmaking. Yeah.
It was
Um.
lots of cocaine, lots of LSD.
Good
Well, I mean,
grief.
here's the thing: is it was. I think Bob said that he and John spent most of the time in between takes drinking and getting drunk. In between takes while filming that movie.
Don't get me started on John.
I know he.
Jackass.
I don't know what.
How dare you?
Mm,
How dare you not cast an Italian to play
the
an Italian, even though I was Latino
playing an
playing an
Italian.
Italian?
That man has his talent. I cannot deny, but that was just stupid. His stance right now on this animated movie, it's just I don't.
How dare you not cast an actual Donkey Kong to voice Donkey Kong?
We need a donkey.
It's impossible. Monkeys can't be donkeys.
Donkeys? I know that monkey. His name's Donkey.
I'm going to defeat you, Donkey
Impossible.
Kong. What do you have to say about that? Hee-haw, hee-haw, hee-haw.
Good grief. I don't even know if I give that much talent credit to John, because
I mean, I look at what he's done. And
he's
the
had a
main
few-
one I think of is Spawn, where he played the clown in Spawn.
He played the yeah.
he did
the
a good
clown.
violator.
He
The
did a good
Violator.
violator.
But man, he's
But
had some
it's
pretty
just-
nasty duds. He's struggled hard. So, I don't know. I
And
don't know.
he's been in the John Wick movies.
It's like, why do you need, dude? You don't need a paycheck. What are you fussing about? You don't need attention. You're getting, I don't know.
I don't
whatever.
know. Maybe he's just upset that it's doing better than his did.
Actually, yeah, I do think that's probably it.
And the thing is well, I'm sorry, but yours was a dumpster fire on a train wreck going Mach 5 through a tunnel full of TNT.
Written by some guys on bath salts or something. I don't know.
Who didn't
I
even know anything about the source material.
To go back and look at that, I mean, it's literally like they had a list of the names of characters and like a 2-word, not even a full sentence description of what some of these characters and this world was about. And I like the bomb. I like that they had. I like that they had. That was the best scene in the whole movie.
Bomb.
I like that they had super scopes, and I loved when they finally got in the costume and they had the jump boots.
Yeah,
because I did like that costume and that setup, and back when I used to cosplay, I always used to say, "Man, I'd love to do that. That would be fun to dress up in that."
Kind of like a dystopian, futuristic, apocalyptic Mario.
Which we've seen artwork for
it's
ideas.
almost like a
Steampunk Mario.
yeah,
Yeah.
not really steampunk, but definitely like post-apocalyptic.
Dystopian.
Well, we've seen artwork for like a
dystopian.
super hyper realistic Mario like that, and that kind of tap into that a little bit. Yeah, that movie, man, drag my poor mother to go see that train wreck.
Well, I think we all went and seen it together. It was
Yeah, I think we did actually.
Yeah, you, I, both our moms, we went at the same time to see that.
Were you old now?
Man.
All right, so at that point, I think I remember enjoying it. Not knowing really any
I
better.
liked it as a kid.
Okay, I was going to say, were you old enough or not old enough
Yeah,
to like realize the turd that you just watched fly across the screen?
I think
and
yes
rubbing
and
your
no.
face.
I was 12. Yeah, I was 12 at the time. Well, no, 13. I was
10.
13 at the time.
Well, it came out in 93?
93, so
yeah, I mean, I'd been 10.
You're old.
Yeah, we
So
won't discuss
I
how
was
old I
13.
was.
Because I turned, you were 15. Won't discuss how old you. Give me a break. You're not that old. We're old, but we're not that old.
Zesty didn't even exist.
Zesty didn't exist.
In my daddy's. Not even a
I'll
tingle
tell
in my
you
daddy's
what.
nutsack.
I think you were cum. Anyway, but
I may not have been.
I was old enough.
Big.
I was old enough to go, what in the hell is this? but young enough to appreciate it for what it was, and I
Yeah.
still appreciate it for what it is. I mean, it's
It's an
it's
impossible
what we
movie.
had at the time.
Well, here's the
Um,
question, and this is what I normally ask about most movies: was it entertaining?
I was entertained.
Yes, it was
I would.
entertaining. I
I
was
mean,
entertained when I saw
I
it. I was
it, it,
entertained.
it had its what the hell moments, like what. When they did the power up the mushroom and what it did and the fungus, and I was like, that's bullshit. Um,
it was a bad, entertaining movie.
that yeah, it was so
But I
bad it
mean,
was
but
entertaining.
that's the thing. It was very loosely based on a video game.
Extremely loosely based.
I
In
said
that it
I said loosely, but at
yeah.
the same time, it's kind of like one of those things of like you get a bite of the mint ice cream and it turns out it's wasabi. You know,
Do not eat the pistachio ice
it's
cream.
great. It's gone
It
bad.
has turned.
You know,
It,
but I mean, that's the thing. Is like it's like you figure it out real fast, quick, and in a hurry that it's not what you thought it was going to be, but it was still entertaining.
well, it
And
really
I think
was.
that's why a lot of people got a sour, kind of a got soured.
It wasn't figuring out really all that quick, fast, and in a hurry because I mean, it still started off in Brooklyn. It still started off as they were prommers, and it started going south when it wasn't Princess Toadstool or Peach. It was Daisy, who I think is actually the one from Super Mario Land. Is she
She
not?
is.
Yeah,
Yep.
she is.
So they had her in it instead. And then they started talking about dinosaurs and the meteorite and the rock and how the people in that kingdom evolved from dinosaurs while the people in Brooklyn and where that's at evolved from monkeys. And it just, that's not King
They were
Koopa.
making shit up as they went.
Um, so yeah, it's just, you kind of start figuring out probably about that moment that it's not what it is. And then when they said those big, tall dinosaur lizard looking things with short, small, shrunken heads were Goombas, I was like, oh, hell no.
Goombas were mushrooms.
Yeah. Oh,
There he goes again.
there he went again.
Well,
It
and
did
something
have
Goombas were a
else.
sniffits in it.
mushroom. Geets out.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's actually kind of hard to track down a copy to watch because I was going to try and find it, and I found random, like, mostly full uploads on YouTube, but it's not on Netflix, Hulu.
Yeah. If you got a VCR, I have the VHS.
I think I still have my VHS. Let's see here. Now you can buy it on Blu-ray.
Oh my goodness.
Um,
Hey, I bet it still says at the top, this ain't no game. God, wasn't that the truth? Uh-oh.
apparently that's a Spanish import. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think his internet crapped out for good that time.
I think it did too. So yeah, we may have lost the 6-inch turkey.
Yeah, his internet keeps crapping out.
So yeah, well, if he hops back in, he hops back in. If not, we let him know that we understand and he tried. Yeah, like I don't even I'm not finding a digital I was trying to see because you usually can buy it digital through Prime or whatnot. Yeah, it still says this ain't no game on top. Yeah, I mean it's like it's that bad that you can't find easily find a release of it. So there you go.
Well, Nintendo's probably like, we want to bury this.
Well, actually, because it's funny sometimes the way rights end up with movies. Because I've discovered several movies over the years that if the rights land the wrong way, you will not find a copy of that. I mean, you've got to. In a lot of cases, you got to go to another country.
You know,
And the one example I'll bring up is the original Dawn of the Dead. Because I've tried to find, I just wanted a good old school Romero, one of the best zombie movies ever made. You can't find it. Something with
I
the
wouldn't
rights of that
be halfway
movie.
surprised if Nintendo hasn't tried to kill it dead.
That's what makes me wonder if the rights behind that have made it. Yeah, and Nintendo, the way they are with their IP,
Hmm.
I I get it. You have a responsibility to protect your IP. And there's cases where it served them well, and in this case, the Mario Brothers movie, um, they've done great with it. They exerted their control. There's other times I feel like they go a little overboard in a way that it kind of creates a negative.
Yeah.
And you don't ever really want that as a corporate entity. You kind of want to exert goodwill. And there's sometimes that there's a lot of people that's like,
Mm.
yeah, you were protecting your IP, but you were kind of a dick about it. I I,
They
I
do
I
have a
see both
reputation.
sides. Yeah,
I mean,
I,
even to the point where when we finally do our Zelda thing with Zesty here, that most likely not going to show any game footage.
yeah. No music. I won't. I'm not going to chance it. Um, like I said, I get it, and I see both sides. Um, but yeah, there's times I feel like they go a little overboard. But yeah, no, it's a good theory. I'd be curious how the Mario Brother movie rights landed on that original, because it is very hard to find, like Dawn of the Dead.
So yeah, I would say Nintendo's done all they could in their power, and it's a lot of power, to pretty much kill the '93 version dead and keep it from showing back up anywhere. Of course, I don't know. To me, I feel like that it would be a good move to not kill it dead and to put it back out there on the limelight again, because that would just help
Well, yeah,
advertising for the new one.
with the new one out, you probably have people that want to go back and see how horrible it was and buy copies of it. And I don't know, you can make a little bit of money off of people that are really curious.
Right? I mean, does a VHS copy of that movie now go for a good little chunk of change? Probably not, but you never know.
I think Amazon had a VH copy for like $20.
See? And I know they're not making them new anymore.
No.
Yeah, let's make a bunch of brand new VHSs.
Send them out there. Well, I mean, hey, you never know. They do it with vinyl nowadays.
Yeah.
You
That's
never
what
know.
we do. We just wait it out until VHS comes back.
Makes its comeback.
So, well, anyway, kind of, I guess, kind of getting back to the movie, we can sort of head towards our wrap up, I think. So where do we go? We have the ending. It's a good first movie, a good start.
Hmm.
Nice bow on top.
Yep.
What are you looking for the sequel? Because there will be one. There's absolutely no way they don't make a sequel.
More of the same. Quite honestly, more of the same. So, if you've not seen it yet, there is an after credits scene.
2 of them, technically.
Yeah, 2 of them technically.
The
You're
mid
gonna,
credit scene is what they call it, like just after the
yeah,
credits kind
where
of start, and then
they have credits where it shows scenes and they're doing things, and then you got the credits that's just on the black screen with the words scrolling up. After the credits on the black screen with words scrolling up is another credits scene. So stick around for all the credits to play if you've not gone to see it.
yeah,
You get an Easter egg
quick
there.
little thing at the end.
So I mean, that's the point in the direction of where they're going to have or what they're going to put in the sequel. That being said, I would like to see Bowser's what started off to be his kids, but turned into henchmen, all named after musical figures.
Yep.
So Larry Von Koopa, Wendy Koopa, Roy Koopa,
Lemmy.
Ludwig von or Lemmy Koopa, and so all his little underlings, I think maybe should start to appear, especially with how this one ended.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like it's definitely, yeah.
How is
If
that
not the
predicament going to
underlings,
be?
yeah. If
done?
not the underlings, of course, Kamek's still out there.
Yeah,
But if not the underlings, there's definitely room for Bowser Jr. to
correct.
emerge.
That's the other thing, Bowser Jr. You brought him up earlier, but it pretty much is almost a given that it's not going to happen. I would also like to see Wart, because I was secretly hoping that end credit scene when they started going into it to show what it was, I was secretly hoping that it would be Wart.
Yeah.
I really, 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 really was.
I don't get it. I mean, I get it.
But
I get the
that
nature behind Mario Brothers 2 and why they don't, because of what the actual game was in Japan, that it's like Ward is not really. I just still think it's a missed opportunity, but whatever.
pretty much.
Yeah.
But other than that, more of the same.
Mm-hmm.
Keep throwing in the references, put in the music, keep in the game, keep it true to the source material. Keep telling the story. I mean, in the video game world, the actual next chronological thing to happen would be Super Mario World.
Yeah.
Not 2, not 3, because I mean we discussed this in a past episode. 2 is just a dream that Mario had, and 3 was a play retelling Mario 1. So, Super Mario World.
Well, and I think with the end credits teaser that alludes to, we're going to World.
So we do that, and then from there, there's so much potential on where any of this can go now, because this can seriously open us up. Well, you had the MCU. Well, how about the NU?
In
The Nintendo universe, the
the
NCU.
NCU, the Nintendo
Yeah,
Cinematic Universe.
Nintendo Cinematic Universe.
Because
How about that?
I want a full on Donkey Kong Country movie. And I think some of that is why some of the people were cast for who they were, is because they were big enough to lead. Both Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, Charlie Day as Luigi, carry a Luigi's Mansion movie.
Yeah.
Um,
We could go into a Mario Kart movie. We could go into a Donkey Kong movie. We could go to a Luigi's Mansion movie. They could spread this out now to other IPs. Now that Mario's had success, what kind of success would a Zelda movie see?
and I think
A Metroid movie, what kind of
I know
success
they
would it
will.
see?
I know they'll start development of Mario 2. That's a given. That'll be probably the immediate pivot point. As much as I want to think it would be Donkey Kong, I feel like Zelda's their next for standalone. I feel like Zelda's their next logical hop as their second biggest.
F-Zero. Bring in Captain Falcon, Star Fox. And you start bringing all of these in, you start doing this, now you're going to lead into Smash Brothers.
Yep. That's where everybody's hoping. And I hope Nintendo's paying attention. I really do. And keep it all animated.
Yeah. Don't live action any of this.
Yep. There's no need. Keep it all animated. You can always rotate out voice cast. Honestly, it'd be easier to keep your actors because voice work is easy. You bring these guys in, they knock their stuff out. I mean, You ain't got to worry about contract keeping them on contract for 10 years to fulfill. You don't run into the Marvel issue. As far as a Zelda goes, and well, let me back up. I want Star Fox. Star Fox is my boy. I love the N64 game. I feel like it's a franchise that has just had misstep after misstep and just can't find its footing. But that N64 game is perfection.
It
And
is really good. They did well on it.
I want a good Star Fox. As for Zelda, I want to see something that leans into not Breath of the Wild, not Ocarina, but the original Legend of Zelda, looking at the artwork in that first game's book.
Yeah.
And I know current landscape of Nintendo, it'll probably be a Breath of the Wild, Ocarina type. But man, I would, like, again, the artwork, it was already in an animation style anyway, as if there was a cartoon. Zelda, I'd love to see the original based on that.
There's a lot of potential, and there's a lot of good things that could come out of all of these IPs if it's done correctly, like this one was.
And I think they will. I think as long as Nintendo continues to exert that control, I think they will.
So yeah. But that's what I'd like to see.
Yep. Absolutely. Zest, are you still with us?
Yes.
You were asleep.
I was not asleep. Just about.
He's starting to zonk.
Yeah. Well,
It's
dude,
all good though.
at 9:30 when I got your message, I had left and told 6-inch, yeah, when I get home, I'm gonna take a Benadryl and immediately fall unconscious. That was 3 hours ago or two.
Well, hey,
So,
you've done well.
Ain't that cute?
And
But
honestly,
it's wrong.
I think we're at a pretty good stopping point. I think we've pretty well covered the movie. What we enjoyed about it. And remaining spoiler free for the most part. So
ish.
ish. We didn't completely. The only other thing
Ruin things.
I really did enjoy, as kind of one of my final comments, the relationship between Mario and Luigi.
Yes.
That I never really felt they covered in the games. And, Luigi was always made out to just be player two. He was player two. He was the sidekick. It was always Mario. But the brotherly love between those two in this movie, I really love that aspect of this movie.
That was really
They
that
did
was
it
a
very well.
fantastic touch, and
Yeah.
that was just right in the feels.
Yeah. That was definitely a new angle and approach to that yeah.
Right in the feels. Oh, and you ever wanted to know what Mario's family looks like? Go check it out. You'll see that
Yep.
too.
So
Everyone has a mustache, even the women.
And another role that Charles did in the movie as well, that way he could be a part of it, was Mario's father. So there you are.
Yep. So I don't know that I have much else to really throw in on it. It's one I will definitely own on digital. I will revisit this one.
Yep.
Yeah, I laughed hard. I left thoroughly entertained. I enjoyed it.
It's a good one, folks. Go see it.
And honestly, I would say believe kind of the hype and the success of it. And if you look at the past few years where there are certain movies that have been extraordinarily successful, there's reasons why, and this movie kind of fits, like I said, in that same box. So yeah, go check it out. I know we're already a few weeks late, and probably most of the world's already checked it out. They're not relying on us for a review, but we've watched a couple old geeks and a young one talk about it.
There you go.
So,
That's all
anybody
I
have
got.
anything else?
Nah, I'm good.
All right. Pivot point to the next one. What are we thinking? Any ideas on where we want to head?
That's a good throw you on the spot question.
And depending, I mean, if we do this exactly 2 weeks from now, if we're going to do it, we have to do it exactly 2 weeks from now, or it's going to be a long wait before our next one. So,
So let's do this. Let's go ahead and say let's buckle down to do it 2 weeks from now. The next thing we should focus on then, I guess, is game wise.
yeah,
We talked about the Zelda franchise in the last one. I think we need to finally get together and get that Zelda 1 playthrough knocked out.
let's see what we can do. That might be tough. I might be able to get to do the show, but I don't know that we can, because that weekend's going to be pretty tight. We'll kick it around. We'll see what we can do. But either way, we have to have something in 2 weeks, or we're going to wait a little bit. So we will think about it as we ponder towards the next one. But that is all I've got. So as usual, thank you for listening, tuning in. Our podcast numbers have been doing amazing. Had a pretty good spike on our episode 1 of our rebranding return. So appreciate those that like to tune in after the fact, and that's fine. That's why we upload to podcast space. I know that watching the show live or even just running us on YouTube is not always feasible or the best,
Especially how
best
late
option.
it gets.
Yeah, especially as late as it gets. But the YouTube here is, I mean, one, it's our way of how we record it, but it's also a nice way that if you can watch live if you choose. So, but yeah, no, our numbers have been pretty good for the past couple episodes. So thank you. We'll catch
Always.
you. We'll catch you in a couple of weeks if no one has anything else.
Good to go, sir.
Yep.
All right. I was worried about Zesty there. Thought he might have went back to sleep.
No.
Now he can go to sleep.
Yeah. Good night.
Thanks for
Zesty.
tuning in.
I sleep
we
now.
And we will catch you all later.
The 8-Bit Hillbillies, featuring Chief RGS, Jannergan, 6-Inch Turkey. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe.